Your view versus mine. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. We just got done doing the unboxing of the brand new Wolfbox G900 TriPro Dashcam. This is going to be the one that's got the 4K front, 2.5K rear, and then the cabin 1080p camera. What'd you guys think of that? Nice looking camera, nice looking product from Wolfbox. Definitely love having the interior camera. You've already got the front, you've already got the rear, and now we've got the inside of the cabin. Keeping an eye on the kids, the animals, any passengers. Definitely getting all sides of all views. So now we're going to be installing this onto my 2013 Jeep Wrangler. We're going to be using the hardware kit from Wolfbox. This is an added on accessory. You can do it as a bundle kit when you purchase your G900 TriPro, or if you don't want to do the hard wiring. The G900 TriPro does come with a cigarette lighter plug to USB, so then it's long enough you can route that around to get your power cable up to your dash cam. But I'm going to be using the hardware kit. That way I've got the 24-hour parking monitoring. So I'll show you how to tap into the TIPM. We're going to route the wires inside the cabin, and then the power wires will be able to go up here over to your dash cam. The rear camera is going to come down here. We'll come all the way down this side over here, up this wheel well, and then around the back. And I'll show you how to mount the camera in the rear. I don't have a spare tire. I do have a license plate in the center of my tailgate, so that's going to make it nice and easy. It's going to give me a nice spot to mount that camera. I know a lot of the viewers have asked me, hey, how do you mount your rear camera? Where do you put it? How do you wire it? So I'm going to show you how to do that. On top of that, we're going to be tapping into the reverse lights. It's going to be the wires on this side, so it's going to be easy to get to when you're running your rear camera wiring. And lastly, I'll show you how to mount the dash cam. There's going to be two different ways of mounting it. You can mount it over your existing rear view mirror. It's going to have straps that go around it and hold it on. It's a nice and secure fit. Or the second option, through Wolfbox, they sell an adapter that's going to bolt onto the back of the dash cam, and it'll go onto the nub that's on the windshield. So you'll actually be removing your factory rear view mirror. With those two ways, they're both easy. The easier way is to go over your factory rear view mirror. It doesn't require any accessories. So when you're buying this, you don't have to buy any of these extra accessories. You can simply attach it over your rear view mirror, and then you can plug it into the cigarette lighter and easily route those wires. You really don't need to buy anything extra. But if you want that 24-hour parking, you're going to have to tap into the TIPM or into the fuse panel. Some vehicles will have the fuse panel under the glove box. I tap into the TIPM. That way it's easier for me to get a 12-volt continuous power that has power when you're cranking the engine. Next video, we're going to be doing a comparison against the G900. So let's go ahead and get started on working on this Jeep, and we'll open up the hood. This is the TIPM that I was referring to. You can open this up here. So inside the TIPM of the Jeep Wrangler, you can actually tap into two different locations, one to give you your accessory power and one to give you your constant 12-volt power. So look right here, we've got M7. This is the outlet in the rear. Mine didn't have that, so that's a good area to get into your 12-volt constant power. The other one you're going to be tapping into is going to be M37, and this is going to be your key on accessory power. This is for your fuel pump. The reason you're using this M37 for your accessory power is when you're cranking over the Jeep, normal accessory power cuts power while it's actually cranking and the starter is turning over. What that does is it causes your Wolfbox dash cam to temporarily turn off when you're cranking the engine over. When you're tapping into M37, it's going to consistently have power even when you're cranking. So right here is the M37. This is going to be, again, for the accessory power for the fuel pump and then for your dash cam accessory power. And then the bottom one is going to be your original accessory. The top one is going to be for your Wolfbox. So you plug that in. Make sure your Wolfbox fuse is smaller than your accessory power. And then the second fuse you're going to be plugging into is going to be the M7. There's 1, 2, 3. It's going to plug into these two that are closest to the fender. And then this will be your 12 volt battery power. And you can see how I had this original one through here. I drilled a little hole, shoved the wire through. So you do have to cut this end. That way your hole can be the exact size of just the wire. And then you'll shove it through. And then I use RTV to seal this. You want the inside of the TIPM to stay sealed. So don't just put the wires over it and close the lid. You need them to be fully sealed. So you can open up your hardware kit. Different options, you can get these fuse taps. This is going to be the part that goes to the camera, and this is going to be the part that goes to the TIPM. And then separately, you're going to have a ground cable that you'll have to wire outside of the TIPM. When checking these wires, you can grab a test light and you can check that it's got 12 volt constant. And then you can check the other one and make sure it's got 12 volt with the key forward. So let's wire these up, and then I will show you how to get inside the cabin. It's nice and easy from the passenger side. So we can start with cutting this end. Find a drill bit that's the same exact size as the wire, and then you're going to be drilling a little hole into this area right here. Then you can feed the wire into that hole, and then you can add some RTV right here. This is to seal this hole. Make sure no elements get inside this hole. Keep in mind, anytime you're working on any vehicle, Jeep, BMW, whichever, you should be unplugging the battery, especially if you're doing any electrical work. You can unplug the negative battery post or the positive battery post, but you should be unplugging the battery. Look up your specific vehicle before you do so. Make sure you're okay to unplug the battery. And do keep in mind, all these videos are for entertainment purposes only. Do this all at your own risk. And again, check with your local laws to make sure that dash cams and modifications to your vehicles are legal. Let's continue. While this is drying, I'll show you how to get the easiest transition into the cabin. You're going to take your provided pry tool. You're going to remove this piece of trim on the side of the dash. Then you could take some hard wire. This is a drain cleaner. And on the passenger side, there's a little piece of styrofoam you can see right here, a little hole. Take this drain cleaner, shove it in this hole. Shove it through the hole. So this is going to be how you get your wires through. So we'll start with cutting off these ends here. Wolfbox does say that you need to test all of this wiring before you do any installing. That way you make sure everything works properly. So we'll cut off these 3 ends. The red wire, it'll say ACC, that is your accessory. The yellow wire is going to be for your battery. The black wire is going to be for your ground. So take some tape and you're going to tape it to the hard wire that you use to push through the firewall. But you want to be gentle with these wires. You don't want to ruin anything when pushing the wires through. So now you can gently push it through. Being extra careful with the wires. And then we should be seeing the wires popping out on the other side. Just like that, we can see the wires popping out over here. We can undo the tape and we can pull out the fishing wire. Then we can pull out some more slack. And then we can route this in a way that the wires won't get pinched. And then we'll be able to attach the ground wire to the ground post on the battery. And then we'll be able to attach the power cables to the fuse taps that you added into the TIPM. All right, so I've got all the wire finished up. I've got it wrapped in this loom to protect it. And then I've got both connected. And then I've got the ground connected also. And then I routed this wire right through here. And I have this loom going through the firewall. You can see I've got the loom on this side also. So now we can route the power wire up to the dash cam, but we're also gonna route the wire for the rear camera at the same time. So we can take our rear camera wiring. This part goes to the back of the vehicle. The type C is gonna go to the front. Measure out an estimated amount of camera wire that we need. And then if we end up needing more, we can pull it through. To make it a little easier for you if you want to, there's a little clip on side here. It's a Phillips head plastic clip on the bottom side right here. You can remove that. You don't have to, but it'll make it a little bit easier for you. And then once you remove it, there's a little clip right here. You need to pull this forward. So now it gives you space to feed your wires inside here. So we'll go ahead and route the wires. This is the power with the flat back. And then this one's the camera with the curved back. Power, camera, so you don't mix them up. You can take it and you can pry this back. And they just gently go inside here. And then you can replace this. And they are gently in there. You can see they still have movement, so they're not being pinched. That's important to make sure they're not being pinched. The next step in wiring, once you have it here, you can bring it around this plastic under the roll bar. Now you can reach it up through here, and then it can come down on this side. Pry these down and push the wires under the plastic trim, making sure nothing's getting pinched. And then you want to pry right here a little bit, keep pushing the wires, and then eventually they'll pop out the bottom side. You need both of them out the bottom side. And then you're going to be routing them up like this over to the camera. If you want to remove your visor, it'll make it a little easier pulling this down, but it's not 100% necessary. And then if you need more wire, you can reach right here. You can pull a little bit while you're gently pushing up over on this side. So now you've got your camera wiring mounted. Next thing we need to wire up is this GPS. The GPS for the old systems is exactly the same. You can take off this 3M tape. There's a nice flat spot right here, and it can actually fit right there. And you can hide all your extra wire up inside here. So that is how you can route your GPS. Next step is going to be to remove or reposition this plastic trim here. You can take some little trim clips, a little tool, and remove these very gently. You might break some of them. That way you can pry that forward. There's going to be one here. You can remove that. And your goal is to be able to pry this whole piece forward. There's two clips back here. You can pull this away. This will just pry away. And then you can route the camera wire under the plastic trim. You can separate this piece. And then you can push this wiring through. Then you can pinch it under this plastic piece. Come to the back side, pinch it under the plastic piece. And then the next step is to get it under this carpet. And then now it's under the carpet here, you can push this to the back of the vehicle. Before you reinstall all the trim pieces, you're going to want to test out the camera in the back of the vehicle first. Make sure the power wire works. No SD card to take it out. And then the rear camera works. So now we can continue with wiring everything. And now we're in the back of the vehicle. To make this job easier, we're going to remove this plastic panel here. Some of the Jeeps might have a subwoofer here. I removed it because I made my own subwoofer box right here. So you're going to need a T30 Torx. And keep in mind, there's a easy way to do this, or there's the right way to do this. This would be the right way, is removing this panel. That way you can route the wires here and mount them into the door. That way you can put your camera on the back side of the tailgate. So we'll start with removing these bottom bolts. Take your little pry tool, we'll pry this piece up. And then on the back side, directly down, there's going to be a 10mm bolt. Once you remove this back side, and you'll be able to feel a little 10mm bolt right back here. And it is a 10mm nut. So now we should be able to gently pry this away. There it goes, coming forward and up. Now you've got clear access to your wiring, and now you can feed the wires through to here. So for the reversing light on my 2013 JK, it's going to be a white wire with a gray tracer. On this end, this red wire is going to be what you're tapping into the reverse light. Now that you've got your wiring tapped into the reverse lights, you've got it nicely routed to right here. Undo this plastic piece. There's going to be little clips on the bottom side. This one's a little difficult because I have this tray back here. Take your new wiring You're going to shove it inside this hole. And then let's go to the other side of the tailgate. I have this mount here where my spare tire used to be. We're going to put the camera right on top of the license plate light. But there is this big hole right here. So you can reach in here and grab your brand new wires. So the camera will mount right here and will get shoved inside here. And then it'll plug in inside the tailgate. So this plug will be secured inside the tailgate. So now it's time we can mount this rear camera. We're not gonna be using this mount here, so we can take a little screwdriver and take out these little screws. It's nice that Wolfbox has all these different mounting options for the cameras, whether or not you're gonna use like 3M tape or mount it. You can mount it at a 90 degrees, or you can spin it different directions. So now you take a little alcohol wipe, clean off the top here. And then I'm going to take this double-sided tape, start with mounting it on the camera, and we can take off this side. We can evenly mount it over the license plate light, or whichever area you're mounting it on. You need to hold this for 30 seconds. That way the tape is nice and stuck onto there. And then you can feed your wires to the inside of your tailgate. Now we can pull these wires, all the extra slack, then we can secure these with some zip ties. Now you can put back on this trim piece. Then over here you can replace that 10mm nut. This piece will cover up the back side of the roll bar. It'll snap together, and then you can replace the top piece here. You can put these top pieces in first, and then the bottom will snap in. Just like that, you've got a clean install. And this is the way I have it mounted. You can see just like that. And then the wire goes through here. The important part about the wiring is to make sure nothing is pinched. So you can still see it's pretty loose right there. So it's not pinched and it's not going to end up cutting the wire. And this is just a different backup camera that I have. That way I can kind of see a real wide view, like 180 degrees almost. So now we can go back to the front of the vehicle. We can test out all the wiring, make sure nothing got damaged while doing that. And then we can get ready to mount the interior camera. So as I mentioned before, there's gonna be two different ways of mounting this camera. So the first mount's gonna be with these straps. Start with putting the top straps on first, and then you put the dash cam over your factory rear view mirror. And then you can reach around and pull the straps around. And that way the dash cam is securely mounted to your mirror. No vibrations, it is securely on there. The second way is going to be with this hard mount that comes from Wolfbox. And that's going to actually remove your rear view mirror, and it's going to mount just like that. Depending on if you want to keep your map lights. So there's two different mounting options. We can go ahead and hook up all of the wires on the top, GPS, your power cable, and your rear camera. And you guys know what that means. It's time for your interior camera. And this is why we wanted this brand new G900 TriPro for this third camera. So you can test it out, plugging it in and seeing where you want to mount it. The nice thing about this camera is you can move it all around. So I can move it right here, move it a little bit, any direction. That way it's not in the way of my line of sight. And you can make sure you can see everything good. You can put it right in the center. That way you get both driver and passenger side. And you can angle it as needed. I don't know, I kind of like that in the center. That way keep an eye on my passengers also in the front and the back. So you just kind of move it around and figure out where you want to mount it. You could even mount it right here, which I actually like that. I think that is a winner right there. So make sure you clean this site with a little alcohol wipe and allow it to thoroughly dry. If you're going to be mounting it on the windshield, you use this clear film provided with the kit, and you will clean off the windshield first, and then you'll stick this to the windshield, and then you'll stick the camera onto this plastic piece. We'll just make sure this is exactly even. We've got the seat belt and the seat belt. Okay, now we can hold this on. We'll hold it down for a good 30 seconds. And now you've got all 3 cameras mounted. You've got your front camera, your interior camera, rear camera, such good quality it looks like. So cannot wait to get this thing outside and test it out. So let's go ahead and we'll clean up this wiring. We'll tight all that. Then we'll get ready to do a little bit of driving. And if you didn't want to do all of that wiring, the other option you could do is use the cigarette lighter plug. You could plug it in right here. There's plenty of length of power cable for you to run down, around, and you could run this power cable up and through. So you actually don't have to do any of that wiring that I showed you. But if you want the parking monitoring, then you do have to do all of that wiring. But for an easy installation, cigarette lighter, route it, be done. You still have to route your rear camera, but other than that, easy wire harness is an easy job. So now it's time to do our first test drive. All right, this is our first time taking it for a test drive. Just need to put the BMW on the right side. BMW's on the correct side. And I am not on the correct side, so let's change that. Extra camera off. Now I'm on this side. Let's put it in reverse, see what it does. Or you can make it the bigger widescreen. All right, we'll drive through the neighborhood. Front camera. Easy to switch to the front camera. We'll see how the video footage looks. Get all 3 cameras. Get the interior camera. I would say so far I'm impressed. Everything looks really good on the camera. The blues look good, the greens, everything's nice and colorful. Front camera. This you can change the exposure on. So exposure, we can turn it up to the max and see what that does. And now it's a little overly bright on the front, but you can change that around depending on your tint or whatever you got going through your windshield. There, that exposure looks a lot better. And look at that front camera, that is so clear. There, that exposure looks a lot better. And look at that front camera, that is so clear. And then again, you can go to all 3 cameras. However you want to look at it. If you need to keep an eye on the kids. Remember, you can angle this one up or down too. So now we're going to test out this camera to see how it performs in the evening and in the dark. All right, I wanted to go for a drive in the evening time, so we'll check out to see how this looks. You can see there is still a little bit of dust going on. So let's go for a little drive and we'll see how it looks. All right, so we are here at a gas station. It is dark outside. I'm just showing you a little bit of the quality of this camera. I'll show you here the interior camera. You can see nice and clearly. So look at that. You can see the mountains. There's like nothing behind me. It's dark road. And you can see houses and you can see the road. And this is a pitch black road. There you go. There we are at night. Even see the signs very clearly. That's awesome. All right guys, thanks for watching. And if you found this video useful, don't forget to like and subscribe. Next video, we're going to be doing a comparison against the G900. So we're going to do the G900 TriPro versus the G900. So stay tuned for that. And again, thanks for watching.